You're in a room with nothing but black blobs, a control list, and a frog with a gun. No menu screen, no file select, no extra corridors, just what you see here. Your first reaction is, of course, to shoot the blobs. Some are up a ladder, so you have to climb up there and shoot them. Some require you to jump on a platform for your blaster to reach them, and one can only be shot in the air, so you shoot upward to take it down. But the monster hits you when it falls down, teaching you to be careful. And when all of this is cleared, the name of the game lights up and a phone call rings just for you. And by the time you answer this phone, without a need of any tutorial, you know all the basics of this little game called Kero Blaster because the title screen taught you everything. Now is that cool or what? I really need new hobbies. Hey everyone, and welcome to Balrog's Game Room, where today we're going to be thinking small and simple, and most importantly, cheap. It's my favorite of the three. You see, we live in an era of gaming where the market is oversaturated. Indie games, kickstarted games, big budget games. Every time we go online, we hear about some crazy new game to play. And some are about goats and bread. I mean, I'm not going to judge what you do with your free time, but really. And you know what? That's amazing since there's never a shortage of new experiences to try. But at the same time, that means that it's very easy for a game to go under the radar, even from a critically acclaimed developer. Now I know I can't spread the word of every hidden gem out there, but the other day, I found out that one of my favorite game developers of all time made a game last year that I wasn't even aware about. So from the creator of Cave Story, welcome my friends to the world of Kero Blaster for iOS and PC. It's a game about a frog janitor, so from right there, you know we are in for an interesting experience. Or something like that. So the plot here is kind of hard to explain, mostly because it's left to the interpretation of the player, but I'll do my best. You play as a frog named Kero, who works in Cat and Frog Incorporated with this rad cat just called the President. Their company, which I can only assume is in the distant future, makes transportation devices all over the city, and Kero is responsible for cleaning the crap on them. However, lately there's been some monsters clogging up said transportation machines, and it's up to Kero to do some maintenance. But these monsters are where the game's main symbolism comes from, and if you've played Cave Story, you know the creator's known for this stuff. The black blobs are known as, oh god, I'm gonna butcher this, Negativus Legatia, which roughly translates to negative legacy, or simply put, negative past. Despite the evil name though, these monsters seem to only do evil things when they're red, and the game is always sure to teach you that at the end of the stage, where you see the red ones clogging up the transporter. Then there's the case of the President. She actually has one of these blobs as a pet. Heck, she even put a bow tie on it. Like, how on earth is that cute? But as the game continues, the President starts to get all kinds of messed up, and her pet continues to grow and grow and grow. My best guess is that the blob is somehow feeding off the President's negative past, and she needs to find a way to put it behind her. And when I mean that, I mean she needs to kill this thing fast. Now I don't want to spoil the ending or anything, but that's the main gist of Kero Blaster's story. There's two other supporting characters who are supposed to be your co-workers, but there's not really much to say about them. In fact, their names aren't even mentioned, so we're gonna have to make them up. And due to my lack of imagination, they're gonna be Pinky and Cat Dude. Cat Dude likes reading books and is really straightforward about things, while Pinky is just obsessed about getting no overtime. Like seriously, that's all this guy talks about. Like, what are you gonna do in your free time anyway? You're a freaking blob! But for the brief cutscenes that they're given, I did enjoy Pinky and Cat Dude's little schemes and antics. Anyway, since we already know about Kero Blaster's basics, let's go over the level design. And now the best way I can describe it is Cave Story meets Contra on a Commodore 64. It's basically a hybrid platformer and shoot 'em up game. You got waves of really cute enemies coming from all kinds of directions, and you want to defeat them to get the best health drops and coins. Even though I feel really bad about killing them. As you can see, the controls are also really tight and kind of remind me of Mega Man, where there's a lot of weight to the character and it's easy to make precise movements. Also, the weapons are pretty well balanced too. You got bubbles, wide beams, spread shots, long range bullets, straight up fire, and it's super fun to find the best way to blast certain enemies. When you have enough coins, there's a shop that you can visit midway through the stage where you can use said coins to buy health items or weapon upgrades. Usually you'll have enough for maybe one or two of them per stage, so you have to choose wisely whether firepower or stamina is more important to you. However, what's really intriguing about the item balancing is that skill doesn't get you a better arsenal. Taking your time in the game gets you them, or really sucking at the game, like me. Let me give you an example. Let's say that if you blast through a stage all the way to the shop, you get 100 coins. However, if you keep re-entering rooms, you could net maybe double that, but it would prevent you from just speeding through the game. Also, if you get a game over, which by the way lets you keep all your coins and keeps the mini-bosses defeated, you have to start from the beginning of the stage, which could net you another 100 coins getting to where you were. By doing either of these tactics, you'll be able to afford more things, and it makes getting a game over a lot less of a punishment since you are making progress. As for how challenging the game is, I honestly don't think I've seen a game with such a perfect difficulty curve before. Stage 1 is really simple, which teaches you basic things like surprise enemies and searching for treasure. By stage 3, you'll be getting electrocuted by mines or falling into spike traps. But by stage 6, oh my god. Kero Blaster without a doubt will kick your ass in your first run. There is a lot of ways to be instantly killed, and since each stage is about 10 to 15 minutes long, the entire ordeal is an endurance run to make it without dying. And 1-ups being the most expensive thing in the game, seriously, I swear they put it there as a joke. You learn to play conservatively really fast. Now that said, the game never really feels unfair. Every single obstacle in the entire game is thrown to you at least once in an isolated environment. Then the screen after that, it tests your knowledge to see if you truly understand what you have to do. Similar to the retro games Kero Blaster is based on, it nails every single aspect on what makes a platformer and shoot 'em up an enjoyable experience. But of course this formula has been done time and time again, especially with modern retro games such as Shovel Knight. But even with great design, I think what really makes Kero Blaster stand out is its presentation. Whether it's the president barfing out whatever this is, overly cute enemies, I'm so sorry, or even the little blob guys that help you out, Pixel really knew how to bring his simplistic characters to life. The bosses are all a joy to fight as well. There's a truck with missiles that tries to run you over. There's a fish trying to electrocute you in a bullet hell type boss. One is straight up a pink bird controlling a clock with legs. Without a doubt, these bosses always kept me coming back, and I'm super glad that later on you can unlock a boss rush mode. Another part of the presentation that really stood out to me was in the later stages of the game. There's no teleporter at the end of the 5th stage, so you have to go back to Cat and Frog HQ on your own. And when you have to get over to the train station, things got kinda gross. Personally, I was pretty horrified. I mean, look at this, there's sewage balls attacking me. But despite that, it does fit the scenario really well. Heck, I'd even say it gave me Earthbound vibes with its out-of-tune music and palette changes. It's scary! As I said, I won't spoil the ending, but after seeing what the president has become, you got a sinking feeling that things won't end well for her. So yeah, as you can tell, I really like Kero Blaster. In fact, I liked it so much that I really wanted it on the go, so I got it on the phone thing, or tablet, phablet, whatever this thing's called. What is the 6 Plus called? Stupid thing. But Pixel being the acclaimed developer he is, how does Kero Blaster stand up with his other works? Well, let's get straight into the review and find out. First up is gameplay, and it's, well, good. Good little story, good mechanics, good style, but that's all the game is, good! It doesn't really use its mechanics to their full potential, nor does it do anything gameplay-wise that we haven't seen before. Yes, you shoot things and it's fun, but the game really went out of its comfort zone. It really needed to expand on its premise just a little bit more. Maybe if Pixel added more levels or endings like it did with Cave Story, it could be a great game. But for right now, well, you get the idea. It's good. Second up is visuals, and it's really hard to grade a game like this. Yeah, it's charming, it runs perfectly, and it's super cute to look at, but by Cave Story standards, or heck, even NES standards, it looks very archaic. I mean, come on, the frog doesn't even have eyes! But since it's part of the game style, and that I did enjoy, I suppose I could give it a good. Third up is sound, and it's fantastic, and as always, Pixel's using his open source music maker, so it sounds like it's straight out of Cave Story and his other games. He really knows how to make extremely catchy themes, and despite the instruments that should sound grating, he makes them sound as amazing as ever. It's definitely great. And fourth up is length. Now this is the main problem with Kero Blaster, and it's a huge problem. I've pretty much already shown you the whole game. Kero Blaster is only 7 stages long and took me, with several game overs, about 3 hours to beat. As I said earlier, there is a boss rush mode as well as a new game plus, but it's pretty much a palette swap with all of your arsenal already there and one extra hidden weapon. It's nothing really special in that regard, and it really could have used an achievement system or something. However, this is where the game's length can be arguable. If Kero Blaster was longer, it may have overstayed its welcome if Pixel didn't add more to the gameplay. However, on the other hand, this game is just so much fun to play that I found myself doing it all over again just for fun. In fact, with New Game Plus, you start with only 1 heart, so a couple people online have been doing 1 heart runs, and that's the main thing that's keeping me playing right now. But for $8 on PC, it's going to hurt my rating by quite a bit, so length's getting an okay from me. In conclusion, Kero Blaster is just a simple, short, and fun retro game from Pixel. If you go into it expecting another epic-like cave story, I can pretty much guarantee you'll be disappointed, but the sooner you get that mentality out of your head, the sooner you'll begin to love it for what it is. As I said, the game runs for about $8 on PC and $5 on iOS, but if you want my honest opinion, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the iOS version works better. The touch controls work perfectly, and unlike the PC version, you can lock your weapon in position while firing, which makes it so much easier to control your character when you're shooting. It sounds crazy, but it works perfectly. Also, if you want to try out the game without paying anything, there's a demo-ish type thing online called Pink Hour, which is pretty much just an extra level of Kero Blaster where you play as Pinky. I put the download link in the description. There's 2 endings depending on if you complete your mission or not, as well as 2 difficulty levels where easy mode kind of plays like stage 1 and hard mode kind of plays like the end stages. It's a really good demo and shows you the range of difficulty you're getting yourself into. And given the system requirements for this, you can pretty much run this on a potato, so you really have no excuse. Just saying. Pixel isn't like most developers. The game that he's most well known for was a 5-year project he made in his spare time. He made his own music software to do the soundtrack with. And most importantly, it was something he made almost entirely on his own and originally for free. Gaming is truly his passion project. So if you'd like to take another trip into Pixel's mind, look no further than Kero Blaster. Actually, scratch that. I do want you to search further than only Kero Blaster. Finding new hidden games can be an adventure. Go explore, look up new games, search new things to try, and maybe you can truly find something that'll leave a solid experience where you weren't expecting it. Not every game has to be the one everyone's playing. And like I said, I can't cover every hidden gem in the world, but all of you can sure as hell find ones worth your time. And for me, Kero Blaster is just one of the many. So this game's getting a good for me, and I recommend it to any fan of retro games as long as you're cool with a short adventure. You know, all this cave story talk's got me thinking. That was the first indie game that I ever played. Maybe if it wasn't for Pixel, I wouldn't have gotten into gaming like I have today. In fact, it's where I got my name Balrog from. It's the game I've beaten the most times. It was the first game ever that gave me legitimate feels. And most importantly, it was the first game that I ever learned inside and out. So you know what? I think I owe it to Pixel to play this game one more time. If that wasn't foreshadowing, I don't know what is. Was it subtle enough? This isn't even Cave Story, by the way. This is Afterburner. I should have thought this through.